I'm going to go over the Baylor men's basketball recruiting for the class of 2024 up to this point. Of course, there's still some time between now and signing day. And there's 2 commits so far, and that's Jason Asamoda. He's a 6'7" or 6'8" 185-pound to 190-pound forward. And he's technical, and he's like more of a small forward specialist at that. And according to 247, he is the number 18 player in the country, number 1 in the state of Arizona, number 8 small forward. He is from Phoenix, Arizona, where he is actually attending Hillcrest Prep, so that's just an FYI on that. And then the second commit is like Wright, the third. 6 foot, 165 pound or 170 pound guard. And he's more of a point guard, by the way. And according to 247, he's attending Monteverde Academy, but he's from Philadelphia. Number 31 nationally, number 7 in the state of Florida, number 4 point guard in the country. So it's definitely a luxury to have those type of recruits already under Scott Drew. And of course, there's a few names to keep an eye on and all this. And there's two in particular, because I don't know about that. Third one, according to 247. Trey Johnson is obviously number 1 on the list, because he's a 6'6", 190 pound shooting guard. That's number 5 in the country and number 1 in that position, and number 1 in that state. And he's from Branson, Missouri, Link Academy. That's where he's originally like from Dallas, Texas. So yeah, that's just to keep in mind on that. And another one to keep an eye on is like VJ Edgecombe, or Edge Combe. But you get the point, and he's a small forward as well, or slash shooting guard. Even because of that size, I would have to think he might go down to the 2. A 6'5", 180 pound player, and he's number 6 in the country, number 3 in that position at small forward, and number 1 in the state. And he's from Glen Head, New York. Long Island Lutheran is where he's attending. And obviously the third one, which I don't know how accurate this is, because ESPN doesn't have them, but 247 does. And the same thing goes for ESPN on VJ. I know VJ has been offered, and I better go over like the offer list for what those commits we have so far, as well as what guys we're looking at on the list. It's Jaden Quaintance, 6'9", 230 pound center, number 9 nationally, number 2 in the position, number 2 in the state, in Raleigh, North Carolina, where he's attending Word of God Christian Academy. And by the way, on those commits for Rob Wright, his offer list does include Bryant, Delaware State, Kansas State, and LaSalle. It's more like Kansas State's the notable on the list. He has 15 offers overall, but that's just naming some of those. Louisville was on there, Maryland, Miami, Florida, Penn State, Seton Hall, Syracuse, Temple, VCU, Wake Forest, Wichita State. That's just a good list right there. And Jason Asamoda, by the way, has the following offers up to this point. And it's 21 of them. And of course, Arizona State, Auburn, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, LSU, UMass, Memphis, Nevada, Ohio State, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Oregon, Rutgers, Stanford, Stony Brook, TCU, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, UC Santa Barbara, and UCLA. So yeah, that's... Now I better go look at Trey Johnson real fast here. And he has a bunch of offers. Like, he's not as much as some other ones. It's either between Baylor and Texas, on his decision for Trey Johnson, by the way. But there's other offers like Alabama, Kansas, Kentucky, Arkansas, Auburn, Duke, Florida State, Illinois, LSU, Oklahoma State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, UNLV, Alabama State, Prairie View, A&M. So yeah, it's pretty much Baylor and Texas on those two guys for Trey Johnson. Now VJ is like 23 offers on the list. Alabama, Duke, Florida, Florida State. Of course, Baylor's on the list. Kentucky, Michigan, UConn, Miami, Florida, St. John's College of Charleston, Georgia Tech, Indiana, Mississippi State, Ohio State, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Seton Hall, Texas Tech, UCF, Villanova, and Wake Forest is on that list as well. And then Jaylen, which I don't know how likely we're going to even mess with, but you never know, because look, we're going to lose everyday Jonathan Chacho after this year, and potentially he's Missy, who reclassified, mind you. I mean, that's the thing. But currently, he besides Baylor on the list for Jaylen, like Kentucky, Missouri, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Florida, USF, Alabama, Cal, Kansas, Mississippi State, NC State, Oregon, Pitt, Virginia Tech, Washington, Howard, Jacksonville, Kent State. I really just think after this point we're only going to take one more, potentially. It's either going to be VJ or Trey Johnson. At this point, you don't want. It's not likely. It's not very likely to get both. Let's be clear. It's not going to happen to get both. But obviously, if Baylor misses out on both these guys, they're going to hit the transfer portal. Let's just be honest. I'm just telling the truth about this. So yeah, that's one of those situations where that could happen, but I have to think they're going to land at least one more. Though there are some for sure they're gone after this year, like Jonathan Chacho, like I said. Ray J. Dennis, he's going to be gone after this year. I would have to think Jacoby Walters to the NBA draft after this year. Yeah, that's for 3 for sure's right there, and it's not even mentioning Jaylen Bridges could be on the way out, though he technically has a COVID year. But here's the catch. Will he go to the NBA after this season? I have no idea. Of course, that's... And Austin Sachs is a senior, but he's a walk-on type. Let's just... No offense. I'm just telling the truth, because it's really... for sure 2 guys, but then it becomes like 1 and done territory, or 3 or 4 and done technically for Jaylen Bridges, because remember he was at West Virginia for 2 years, then 2 years at Baylor coming up. Then he could very well leave, though he has a COVID year, like I said, and same thing goes for Caleb Lohner too. I mean, that's the thing. He was at BYU for 2 years, he's going to be Baylor for 2 years. He's not necessarily going to go to NBA route. No. He's not going to be. He's more like on the lower end on the playing time list right now. But you get the point. He could very well call it done for basketball, or take his COVID year and keep it at Baylor, or go somewhere else. We don't know, and of course we don't know what the transfer portal and there's actually a possibility that Yves Missy, a true freshman who got reclassified, could very well go to the NBA after this year. So there's a lot of... It's kind of tricky, as you could tell, and thank goodness the COVID year is going to be gone after this upcoming season, because it's just a headache to deal with. Though, of course, there's still the headache of 1 and done, transfer portal, NIL. But you get the point. It's one less thing to worry about, period. So, and I'm going to break down this roster later, but you get the whole picture on this because I really do think Jacoby Walter is going to be an NBA first round pick after this year. I really do. So, gotta enjoy him while you have him. So that's really, for sure, I would say 3 guys gone. It's more like Jaylen Bridges at this point. Maybe even he's missy. Yeah, it's one of those tricky situations. And obviously, I would say Austin Sachs does have, like, he's a walk-on. So I don't know if they're going to really fill. Of course, we know the max limit for basketball in terms of scholarships is 13 and not 15 like the women. And it's more complicated than the women because, you know, the 1 and done, the 2 and done, 3 and done before you even graduate. So it's not like for sure they're going to stick it around for 4 years. Oh no, as we all know, that's not the case at all right now. So yeah, it's more like I have to think they're going to add at least one more for the class of 2024. It's either going to be VJ or Trey. Then that's it. Makes a lot of sense. And of course, we don't know about the transfer portal and certain players leaving after this year to go somewhere else for more playing time or NIL, or they want to be in a better system. They're not happy here. But you get the whole point in all this. It's very hard to manage, especially when they could go technically all the way down to close to June to make the decision whether or not they're going to come back to Baylor or school or not, potentially, after doing the lottery stuff. Lottery pick, you know, and I know last summer Jaylen Bridges did the same thing. Then ultimately he decided to think about going to Australia, then go to the NBA. He decided to come back to Baylor, of course. But you get the whole point. It's very complicated in all this, and I have to think if push comes to shove, they're going to add somebody through the transfer portal. I mean, that's the truth. Maybe not just have like 3 total recruits coming in, but add some transfers too, you know, because there is still that COVID year, like I said. Of course, I even forgot to mention for the women's side, but for the men's side too, or any other sport, the Ivy League schools athletes that couldn't even participate that 1 year, they could technically come back for the, like, I mean, that's the truth. So yeah, and just be a grad transfer somewhere else. But we're gonna have to wait and see what happens and who goes to the NBA draft after this year. It's way too early to worry about it. But you have a good idea already who's gonna definitely be gone. It's for sure 2 players. It's a matter of, at this point, Jacoby Walter, which I think he's gonna be gone to the NBA, but you never know. Same thing goes for Ease Missy and maybe even Jaylen Bridges. So I don't want to speculate much more on that, but you have a good sense. And let's just focus on the here and now and see how this team does this year. And hopefully they bounce back after the last 2 years in the round of 32. And the Big 12 is going to be even tougher because we've got Houston to deal with now. But then again, Houston's going to be an adjustment period too, because the level of competition is a little bit hard. It's a lot harder in the Big 12 than in the American. So, yeah, it's just something to keep note of on the recruiting side of things too. And there might be like a 20-for-25 guy. I don't want potentially that could reclassify as well, like Ease Missy just did from 2024 to 2023. I'm not going to say it's for sure going to happen, but it's not going to for sure not going to happen. I'm just saying there is that possibility too. So it's one of those tricky situations in all this. And I'm sure Scott Drew and staff are going to figure this out. And they're probably going to land, I would think, one more guy, like I said, and then be done. And keep yourself open to the option of transfer portal. I mean, if you have to. So anyways, if you like this content, like and subscribing. I'll see you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal is 1,000, so I can make money or more, make money off of this. Of course, liking the video, commenting the video really does help the YouTube algorithm so more people can see it, and sharing the video as well so more people can watch it. Of course, if you're watching and not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell as well. And same thing goes for anyone that's subscribed and not hit the notification bell. Hit the notification bell too. And thanks again for watching. This is just a little update, and there's still some time between now and then, so we have to wait and see.